The Runcandel clan, a bloodline that has ruled the sword for 4 centuries, feared by every kingdom that ever dared to share a border with it. Their pureblood heirs are born with monstrous strength, gifted from the cradle to dominate the world without ever needing to try. They live by 3 words carved into everything they are: to struggle, to achieve, and to relish. Survival of the fittest, and nothing softer than that. It is a house built on greatness, and that is the clan he was born into. His name is Jin Runcandel. Remember it, because the boy carrying it is about to lose everything, twice. Every child of the clan faces the right of choice, a moment that decides the shape of the life ahead of them. So he chose Balisada, the Patriarch murmured from somewhere above him. How intriguing. And in that moment, Jin believed, the way any boy would, that his life would be full of glory and triumph. He believed the name would carry him the rest of the way. However, bloodline was never a guarantee, not for everyone born under that name. Jin had no talent for the sword, none at all. He gripped the blade and felt nothing, no gift, no instinct, no spark of the monster his surname promised. They whispered around him. The worst swordsman in the history of the Runcandel clan. That is what they called him. His brothers laughed at the boy who drilled with a wooden sword while the Patriarch's blade sat untouched at his side. "What's the point?" they sneered. "When a real sword is right there and you're still this pathetic." He had no answer that would satisfy them. So they took his answers from him instead. "Hey, I'm talking to you," one of them growled. And when Jin kept walking, the first shove landed. They knocked him to the ground and stood over him like he was something spilled. "Basic theory," one of them laughed, waving the stack in his face. "Studying this won't help your pitiful self." And then he trampled every page of it into the dirt. "Why did you do that?" Jin shouted, scrambling for the ruined paper. A hand closed in his hair and yanked his head back before he could reach it. "Why?" he gasped, and the only answer he got was a fist. "We're doing this for your own good," they told him. "Don't you dare talk back to us." When they dragged his nanny into it, something in him snapped. "Jilly has nothing to do with this," he screamed, and it earned him nothing but more. "Still talking back," they said. "Looks like we'll have to teach you some manners." The sky burned orange over the estate as the beatings became just another part of the day. But the fists were never the worst of it. His own lack of talent cut deeper than anything his brothers could ever land. And still, he told himself the same thing, over and over, on the floor with the taste of blood in his mouth. "I just have to try harder." He believed that if he only worked enough, his family would finally see him, that his effort would earn their trust, and the name would finally feel like his own. It didn't. "Jin Runcandel," a voice said, on a night he would never forget. "In light of your efforts, you shall be spared. As of this moment, you are banished from the clan." The gates slammed shut behind him, and the leaves scattered in the wind. He was 25 years old when they cast him out, and left him to wander the world as a vagrant. And it was then, at the lowest point of his life, that he met his teacher, a figure with red hair and a quiet smile, who looked at the broken air and saw something no Runcandel ever had. That's also when Jin realized the thing that would change everything. He had talent, after all, just not the kind his family ever bothered to look for. Light bloomed in his palms, warm and golden and alive. Magic. He could use magic. The one gift the sword-obsessed Runcandels despised above all others, and it had been sleeping inside him the whole time. 3 years passed. He learned to draw mana from the world around him, to fold one spell into the strength of the next. Every spell he cast made the one after it stronger until the magic began to feel like breathing. For the first time in his life, he was getting somewhere, and no one was there to knock him back down. And then, one quiet night, the shadows moved on their own. A cold blue mist coiled around him, and the air turned to ice. "Who's there?" he said, turning slowly, a bead of sweat sliding down his jaw. The dark answered, "I am Solderet, the master of all shadows, rising from the deep like a god pulled out of a nightmare." He towered over Jin, vast and ancient, and he did not come to threaten. He came to offer a contract, the power to command shadow itself, and immunity to every curse ever made. "Curses?" Jin repeated, the word catching in his throat, and that was when the truth finally surfaced, the truth that would break his whole life open. Solderet looked into him and saw it plainly. "You seem to have incurred envy in another's heart when you were little," the god said. Someone had looked at a small, striving boy and hated him enough to bury him alive, That envy had become a curse, the blade's delusion, a cruel spell laid on a Runcandel that strangles a swordsman's talent at the very root. Perhaps this is why I was drawn to you, he thought, staring at the glowing seal in his hand. No curse shall bring harm upon you again, Soldere said. Now you shall become a spell sword with no equal. I shall enjoy watching you. And Jin took the contract. The disgrace of the Runcandel clan picked up the sword one more time. Only now the blade felt light in his grip, alive with a blue fire that answered his will. For so long it had felt like swinging at empty air, like there was nothing in his hands at all. Now the weight of a lifetime lifted, and the steel finally moved the way he'd always dreamed it could. He wove magic into steel, spell into swing, until the two became a single, unbroken motion. At last, he breathed, watching the energy race down the edge of his blade. My efforts have finally borne fruit. The worst swordsman in Runcandel history had become something the clan had no name for. But fate, in stories like this one, has a nasty habit of collecting its debts early. On a moonlit ridge, steel found him again. Armored knights closed in. A shriek split the dark, and blood sprayed hot across his face. He heard someone scream. He thought he heard someone scream. And then the ground. Jin lies among the rubble, his own blood pooling beneath his cheek, his body heavier than it has ever been. Teacher, he calls, but no one comes. Anybody, he whispers, and the silence answers, the way it always has. Here I am, he thinks, dying alone in the dark. I guess I just wasn't meant to succeed after all. He never even got to use Soldere's power the way he dreamed of. All that talent unearthed too late and now bleeding out into the stone. His eyes close on one final, bitter question. Why was I given a second chance at all, if this is where it ends, and the world goes black? Then, grass. Soft green grass, warm under two small hands. Around him stand the men of his clan, alive, whole, exactly as he remembers them. I'm supposed to be dead, he says, and no one hears the man inside the boy. You can do it, young Master Jin. Jilly, he breathes. But how? You were. And one blade among the hundreds begins to glow. He knows that sword. He would know it anywhere. It's Balisada. It's the right of choice. The single moment that started everything handed back to him from the beginning. I've returned to the past, he realizes, the weight of 2 lifetimes crashing down on him at once. The estate still stands. His clan still breathes. The teacher he'll one day meet is still years away. Everything that broke him is still ahead, and everything he learned to become is already behind. In his first life, he grabbed this sword by chance, a foolish boy chasing a name he couldn't yet carry. The clan gasped that day. It's the Patriarch's sword, they cried, half in awe and half in horror. So this time, he reaches for the hilt with open eyes and a lifetime of scars nobody else can see. I'll grab it, of my own will. The clan could not believe their eyes. That's impossible, the old Swordmaster breathed. The worst heir the Runcandels had ever produced had just reached out and taken the Patriarch's own blade. Jin has chosen Balisada. The whisper spread through the great hall like a crack running through glass. And with that, the right of choice came to an end. Take the boy to Storm Castle, a cold voice commanded from the shadows. So they carried him away to the fortress at the edge of the world, where the storms never truly stop. 6 years later, thunder splits the sky above Storm Castle, and inside its walls, a boy reaches for a book he cannot quite touch. I can't reach it, he sighs. 6 years he has waited inside these walls, and the clan's rules keep him here until he turns 10. 3 more years, he thinks. 3 more years of this cage. It's so boring here, he murmurs. And for a swordsman who once died in battle, boredom is its own kind of torture. He knows what is coming. He has lived it once already. And this time, he intends to be ready for all of it. Then the screaming starts. A dead bird in your room? The servant girl cries, her hands shaking. Young master? Who would do such a thing? Jin already knows. There are only 2 people in Storm Castle cruel enough for this. The Tona twins, Diatona and Haitona Runcandel. 9 years old, grinning in the dark like they've won a prize. What a pity, one snickers. The servant girl found your gift before you did. Yeah, the other adds. We put it there just for you to see. How do you like it? They laugh. Were you moved to tears? 2 boys barely out of childhood laughing over a small dead thing they killed for fun. Jin looks down at the small broken body cradled in his hands, and something old and cold turns over inside him. How could they kill an innocent bird, he thinks. And they're only 9. But Jin knows what these two become. In his first life, when the Tona twins grew up and took their places as flag bearers, they became notorious murderers. Don't cry now, the twins tease, circling him. Hey, we're talking to you. And the boy they think is beneath them finally lifts his eyes. Shut up, Jin says quietly. You talk too much. The first twin takes the blow full in the chest and folds with a strangled cry. How dare you? The other shrieks, lunging with everything he has. He never lands the hit. I tried my best to hold back, Jin says, and drops him with a single clean strike. But I can't let this keep happening. When it's over, both boys lie unconscious on the floor, and the 7-year-old stands over them without a scratch. For once, the monsters of the Runcandel bloodline are the ones on the ground. Let me give you a word of advice, he tells their limp bodies. Try to stay out of my sight from now on. That is when Khan arrives, the guardian knight of Storm Castle, red scarf soaked through, eyes sharp beneath the rain. He takes in the 2 beaten Runcandels and the calm child standing among them, and his stomach drops. Young masters, what happened here? They got into a fight and knocked each other out, Jin says smoothly. It is a lie. Khan knows it is a lie, because Khan felt something in that room a moment ago. That energy, he thinks, staring at his own hand in the downpour. I know it wasn't aura. Aura is the power every Runcandel is born to wield. This was something else entirely. Could it have been mana? If so, then this was no simple quarrel between siblings. I must report it to the Patriarch, Khan decides, jaw set. Hey, you there, he barks at a stable hand. Fetch me a horse. And he rides out into the storm to carry Jin's secret straight to Jin's father. From a rain-streaked window, the boy watches the knight ride away. I knew it, Jin thinks. He's going to tell my father what happened. Khan is a guardian knight. He protects the children of Storm Castle, and he watches them just as closely. Jin opens his hand, and a thread of dark energy coils across his palm like a living thing. This shadow is proof that my contract with Solderette still holds, even in this life. The god of shadows kept his word across death itself. The pact he made in his final years did not die when his body did, and because of that contract, Jin carries immunity to every curse ever made, which means the blade's delusion. He closes his fist, and the shadow winks out. Jin Runcandel will no longer be remembered as the worst swordsman in the clan's history. Now for the next challenge, the hardest one of all. Facing his father, the man who once banished him. The man he now has to win over from the very start. But word travels faster than any boy can prepare for. So, Jin beat up the Tona twins, a voice murmurs, and behind the speaker a shadow shaped like a lion stirs. Khan, the Patriarch says, and the single name lands like a verdict. Assemble the flag bearers, 2 words, and the whole clan holds its breath. Somewhere in the halls, a silver-haired young woman rises, her eyes hard with purpose. I am going to see Jin, she says, and no one dares to stop her. Boots strike stone. Cloaks snap in the wind. The 7 Runcandel flag bearers and 200 knights under their command have all arrived, a cloaked figure reports. Good, comes the reply. 7 of the deadliest swords in the world, and a small army at their heels, all turning toward a single fortress. These are the elite the whole clan bows to, the ones the twins would have grown up to join. And every one of them now wants a look at the boy who was supposed to be nothing. Among them rides that silver-haired young woman, drawn to Storm Castle by a name she thought she could forget. We head to Storm Castle, and so the clan that threw Jin away in one lifetime comes marching back for him in the next. He wanted his father's attention. He is about to get far more than that. The storm is only getting stronger. And this time, the boy at the heart of it has no intention of dying quietly. The banner of the Runcandel clan snaps in the wind above a war camp. Why did he suddenly order us to assemble? Dyphus, do you know anything? She asks. I already went to Luna, and she was no help at all. Dyphus Runcandel only smiles, silver hair falling across his amused eyes. Maybe, he says. He wants to see Jin. Jin? But why? Then someone remembers, and the color drains from their face. He chose the Patriarch's sword in the right, one of them says. Remember? Is Jin really worth that much attention? Far away, inside Storm Castle, that same question hangs over a small boy. The Patriarch is on his way here, young master, the servant says softly, straightening his collar. I'm not sure, Jin answers, but he knows exactly what this is. Khan reported precisely what he saw, he thinks, and now father is coming to see it for himself. The servant brushes his hair with careful hands, her voice gentle but tight with worry. Your father learned of your strange power, she says, so he decided to come and see you. To see whether Jin and the power he wields are a threat to the clan or a gift to it. Armored knights advance in a slow, thunderous line, visors down, swords ready. Their boots strike the stone in unison, and the sound rolls through the halls like distant thunder. Greetings to the Patriarch of the clan, a voice cries out, and he comes. A towering man in a black cape, stitched with gold, silver hair, a sword at his hip. Bring the Tona twins to me, he commands, and the whole fortress seems to shrink. The twins stumble to the foot of his staircase, heads bowed, whispering in a panic. I heard you fought with Jin, one hisses. What mistake did you make? Jin was the one who hit us, the other insists. He struck us with some strange power. It was something, they stammer, like magic. But magic is forbidden in the clan, they say, half thrilled and half terrified. Enough, Charon says, and the word cuts them silent. He does not care who threw the first blow. Take these words to heart, he tells his sons. You will not survive in the Runcandel clan with such a mindset. Losing, then whining about how you lost, is the only true disgrace in his eyes. The twins flinch, sweat beading on their brows. Bring Jin to me. Jin knows exactly who is waiting for him. Chiron Runcandel is my father, he thinks, but he is also the harshest and strongest person I've ever known. The most powerful being this age has ever produced. A man who climbed so high he became a demigod and lost most of his humanity on the way up. He feels almost nothing now. No warmth, no mercy, only the cold weight of the clan he carries. In his first life, Jin remembers, my father treated me as if I had never existed. Not a word, not a glance, not once in 25 years. But this time, he swears, it will be different. In this life, no one will ever look down on me again. He grips the door, steadies his breath, and steps inside. Behind him, his siblings crane their necks to peek, and someone yelps when they're caught. Greetings to the Patriarch, Jin says and bows low. Kieran's eyes narrow. Why did you address me as Patriarch? He asks, and not as father. You brought 100 clansmen and the Guardian Knights with you, Jin answers evenly. I assumed this was an official visit, so I addressed you accordingly. Charon says, the faintest flicker crossing his stone face. Well said, but I have come for a different reason, he adds. You may call me father now. Now let me ask you what I asked your brothers. What mistake did they make during your fight? Jin's fist tightens at his side. Their mistake, he says, was that they left a debt unpaid. A Runcandel always pays back what is owed, Mary would say, smiling. Friend or foe, it makes no difference. The twins wronged him, and he simply collected. Charon studies the boy for a long, silent moment. Everyone else but Jin may leave, he says at last. Outside, the knights murmur among themselves. Did the young master pass the Patriarch's test? The Patriarch has given an order, comes the sharp reply. Get moving. One brother claps Jin on the shoulder as he passes. Not bad, baby brother. And the great door slams shut, leaving father and son alone. I wish to speak in private, Chiron says, because I have something to ask you. The Tona twins say you used a special power. The Runcandels forbid magic above all things. To them, only mastery of the sword has worth. So, Ciaran says, looming over the kneeling boy, what is the power you wield? If it turns out to be mana, know that you shall be severely punished. Jin lifts his head, and a small, dangerous smile touches his lips. Aye, he begins. If my father learns what this power truly is, everything changes from here. He raises his hand, and dark energy uncoils from his fingers like living smoke. Because this, he says, is Soldere's power. You do not know what it is, Chiron breathes, as shadow blooms across the room. I was wondering what to call it myself, Jin admits. So, father, he says, the shadows pooling in his palm. Won't you give it a name? And for the first time in his life, Jin watches his father flinch. Because Chiron knows this power. Because it happens to be the very power once wielded by the first patriarch of the clan. The founding strength of the Runcandels, thought lost to history, alive again in the hands of its greatest disgrace. The boy they threw away is holding the origin of everything they are, and that is where the story pauses, on a father who can no longer look away.